morning children, welcome to class 12 economic online class. Today we will start chapter 6 in Indian economy which titled as rural development. Why rural development is very important in Indian economy? Because more than 2/3 of people in India still live in rural areas and agriculture is the major source of their livelihood. But the productivity of agriculture sector is very low. So most of the rural people are under poverty. Mahatma Gandhi had rightly said, real progress of India means development of villages, not the growth and expansion of industrial urban centers. The soul of India lives in its villages. So let us first understand what is rural development. Rural development in India is the overall progress in the economic and social condition of Indian rural people. It focuses on actions for the development of areas that are lagging behind. The rural population requires long-lasting reforms and consistent projects on rural development. So such as education, agriculture, health, etc. With the necessary steps and measures, it is thus possible to introduce development in rural area. So rural development or the measures, the primary objective of rural development include the development of human resources through ensuring education, especially female literacy and skill development, and also health facility to rural population. Then the development of productive resources of each locality through introduction of modern technology for agriculture in rural area to contribute to an increased productivity rate. Then infrastructural development like electricity, irrigation, credit, marketing, transport facilities, then facilities for agriculture research and information, etc. Then the next objective is bridge the gap between local governing bodies and central administration for better economic communication. Then also land reforms. To redistribution of land among landless rural agriculture laborers, there should be a land reform and it required whole system of land reforms. Then generating alternative means of livelihood in rural areas. Rural people also need to be given an opportunity to diversify their production from farm productivities to non-farm productive activities like food processing, animal husbandry, fisheries, horticulture, etc. Then also the alleviation of poverty is the main objective of rural development. Alleviation of poverty means uplift weaker section of society. Okay. But there are some issues of Indian rural development. What are they? As we discussed in earlier chapter, share of agriculture to GDP was on declining, but population dependent on this sector didn't show any change. Then inadequate infrastructure facilities. That means there is no proper roads, no proper internet connectivity, then electricity issues, etc. Then along with this, lack of alternative employment opportunity in industry or service sector. Then also increasing casualization of employment. That means most of the agriculture laborers are casual or daily wage workers. So all this prevent the rural development in India. In this chapter, we will critically look at some aspects of rural India like credit and marketing system, agricultural diversification, and the role of organic farming in promoting sustainable development. These are a summary of this chapter. So today we are going to understand rural credit system. Rural credit system in India. So what is rural credit? Rural credit, that means credit for the farmer communities. Then farmers require credit for various purposes like purchasing agricultural tools and machineries, digging wells and tube wells, purchasing seeds, fertilizer, pesticides, etc. The gestation period between sowing and harvesting is high. So farmers have to borrow to fulfill their need during that period. So they will borrow money from sometimes from money lenders or maybe from banks. So there are some drawbacks in borrow money from money lenders. Then money lenders and traders exploit the poor farmers and lend money on high rate of interest, then do not maintain proper accounts and harass the poor farmers, and also borrower find themselves in a debt trap, as we discussed in the first chapter. Then we are moving to the major sources of rural credit in India. There are two types of rural credit, institutional credit and non-institutional credit. So non-institutional credit include money lenders and traders, relatives, employer, etc. Then non-institutional credit includes cooperative society, commercial banks, regional rural banks, NABARD and SHGs. At the time of independence, money lenders and traders were the major source of rural credit in India. But they exploited small and marginal farmer by lending loan at very high interest rate. Okay. So these money lenders and traders is known as non-institutional source of credit. But after 1969, India adopted social banking approach. The institutional source or otherwise known as multi-agency institutions. So credit now consists of what are they? Cooperative societies, commercial banks, regional rural banks, that is RRBs, then NABARD. NABARD is the expansion of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, and it was established in 1982, an apex body to coordinate activities of all institutions involved in the rural financial system. Then also recently SHGs are introduced. We have already discussed about SHGs. It is a group of 20 to 30 members. They collect small amount from their members as a savings. From this pooled money, credit is given to the needy members to be repayable in small installment at reasonable interest rate. Commercial banks also provide credit to such groups. Such credit provisions are called microcredit programs. So what are the merits of SHGs? It helps borrower to overcome the problem of lack of collateral. Collateral is the main drawback of our banking system. In banks, during the time of borrowing, bank would ask collateral as a guarantee for the money. But most of the rural people are landless and may not have any asset to give as collateral. This is one of the major reason which prevent the rural people from getting bank loans. So SHGs provide or it overcome the problem of lack of collateral. Then SHGs are the building block of organization of rural poor. SHGs have helped in the empowerment of women. Then also you might have heard about Kudumbashree. It is a woman-oriented community-based poverty reduction program being implemented in Kerala. In 1995, a thrift and credit society was started as a small saving bank for poor women with the objective to encourage saving. The Thrift and Credit Society mobilized rupees 1 crore as thrift saving. This society have been acclaimed as the largest informal bank in Asia in terms of participation and saving mobilized. So Kudumbashree is the one of the major community-based, woman-oriented community-based poverty reduction program that are implemented in Kerala. And it is one of the main informal bank in our country. Then next we are moving to the critical appraisal of this credit system. So first of all, the positive role of rural banking. Rural banking has helped in raising farm and non-farm out by providing services and credit facility to farmers. It has helped in achieving food security, which is reflected in the abundant stock of grains. It provides long-term loans with better repayment option. It thus helps in eliminating money lenders from the scene. It had a positive effect on income and employment, especially after the Green Revolution. Then what are the negative aspects of rural banking? The formal institutions, except commercial banks of rural credit, have failed to develop a culture of deposit mobilization. And also the restrictive lending policy, which exclude richer section and poor people, show least interest in depositing their money with bank, and sometimes the borrower are deliberately refusing to pay back loans. These are the constraints in deposit mobilization. Then, vast proportion of rural households are out of the credit network, as some kind of collateral security is required for taking loans. Then, recovery of agriculture loan has become a serious problem. Then, how can we solve this problem? So, there are some suggestive measures to solve this problem. The bank should change their approach from just being lender to building up relationship with borrower. The habit of thrift should be inculcated among the farmers. The farmer should be guided how to make efficient utilization of financial resources. Then an effective mechanism for the recovery of loans should be evolved at the earliest. Then also cooperative credit societies in rural areas should be strengthened and their working should be made transparent and efficient. So rural credit is one of the main aspects in rural development. The efficient credit system, we can achieve rural development in some extent. Okay children, today we have learned about rural development and objective of rural development. It is one of the major challenges in our country. Rural development involves upliftment of poor and weaker section of economy. In India, most of the poor people living in rural area. So, rural development is an essential requirement for the development of our nation. We have also discussed rural credit system. An efficient rural credit system can bring rural development. So, children, as usual, you have to watch the URL, attend the test paper, download your notes and learn it well. So, thank you children. See you in the next class. Bye.